जो इस सरकार के विरोधी है, बीजेपी के विरोधी है, उनके ऊपर इस प्रकार की कार्रवाई करना अब नई बात नहीं है.
Data which has come in newspapers as well as on channels that 95% people who have ED and CBI cases are from the opposition. So I'm not surprised at all.
अब ये सेंथिल साहब पहले एआईएडीएमके में थे, फिर डीएमके में आए. एआईएडीएमके में जब तक थे किसी न किसी प्रकार का सहयोग चल रहा था, कोई दिक्कत नहीं थी. अभी सारी दिक्कतें सामने आ गई.
When the state government is different, in other words, there's another party ruling in the state and BJP is in the center, then it becomes a double-barrel sarkar.
Well, you might hear a lot of political noise after this arrest that has happened in the state of Tamil Nadu, but there's an important legal history to this entire matter. Let's give you a brief overview of the case so far and the charges against Senthil and what has panned out so far. Let's talk about the year 2014. That's when the scam came to light. The minister was serving as the transport minister during AIADMK tenure. His aides allegedly took cash from the job aspirants, and in fact, the name of his brother also surfaced. This cash was used by the minister and his close aides allegedly to give jobs in return. Recruitments were delayed and elections were cited as the reason, which means a lot of people who gave bribes did not actually get the jobs. In 2016, these aspirants sought the return of their money. These distraught aspirants then filed litigation and complaints at various places. There were complaints that were filed against Balaji and his key aides. In 2018, there was an FIR that was filed for breach of criminal breach of trust, intimidation, cheating and other sections. Interestingly, even at this point, the sections of Prevention of Corruption Act were not invoked. Cut to 2021, Senthil approached the High Court to quash the case. There was some kind of a settlement that was supposedly reached. And in 2021, ED registered 4 cases, named Balaji as a key accused. In 2022, Balaji moved to High Court against these ED summons, and the High Court quashed and stayed the FIRs and the summons. ED moved the Supreme Court challenging this order, and that was the point when this case got a new life. The Supreme Court refused to discharge the minister in the cash for job scam case and argued, how can there be any kind of settlement when the fraud has been done on people? Well, here's what you need to know of that roughly 90-page Supreme Court order that was passed earlier. That's what the Supreme Court said. There were many damaging comments that were made. We put out for you. The compromise between the minister and the aspirants goes beyond the dispute between two parties. It was not a civil dispute. Justice and fair play has been compromised between the accused and the complainant. These are the words of the Supreme Court. There were fluid rules that were played by the bribe giver and the bribe taker, and corruption by public servant is an offence against the state and the society. It's the duty of the Enforcement Directorate to register an information report and take action on this matter, and the Supreme Court issued orders to the Enforcement Directorate to start investigating this entire case. Now, interestingly, BJP has taken a direct shot at the DMK, accusing it of changing tracks when it comes to the case. Senthil Balaji, in fact, Tamil Nadu BJP chief Annamalai, he released an old video stalin where he accused Senthil of corruption when the accused minister was in the AIADMK. Listen in.
இந்த மாவட்டத்தில் ஒருத்தர் இருந்தார், அமைச்சர் செந்தில் பாலாஜி. அவரை பத்தி சொல்ல வேண்டிய அவசியமே இல்லை. ஏற்கனவே 15 முறை அமைச்சரவை மாத்தினப்போ இவரை மட்டும் மாத்த மாட்டாங்க. அந்த அளவுக்கு ஒரு முக்கியத்துவமான அமைச்சராக இருந்தார். அந்த செந்தில் பாலாஜி அமைச்சரவை 15 முறை ஏற்கனவே மாத்தி அமைச்சாங்க. அப்பெல்லாம் அவரை மாத்தல, சீனியர் அமைச்சர்லாம் மாத்தினாங்க. ஆனா இந்த ஜூனியர் அமைச்சரை மாத்திரம் மாத்தல. இடையில அந்த அம்மா ஜெயிலுக்கு போனப்போ யாரை முதலமைச்சராக தேர்ந்தெடுக்கலாம்னு சொல்றப்போ அந்த பட்டியலில் இவர் இருந்தாருங்க. இவர் கெட்ட கேடு செந்தில் பாலாஜி பேர் இருந்துச்சுங்க. அப்போ இதான் வேடிக்கை. ஆக இன்னைக்கு பாத்தீங்கன்னா அவரு மட்டும் இல்ல, ஒட்டுமொத்தமாக பாலாஜியினுடைய தம்பி இந்த கரூர் மாவட்டத்தை தன்னுடைய கட்டுப்பாட்டில் வச்சிருக்கிறாரு.
Well, let's take this entire debate to our guests as well, who are joining us on Brass Tacks tonight. Shehzad Poonawalla, the national spokesperson of the BJP, Mr. A. Saravanan, who's the spokesperson of the DMK, Mr. Kovai Satyan, the spokesperson of AIADMK, and Mohan Kumar Mangalam, the spokesperson of the Congress Party. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Mr. Saravanan, coming to you first. When this investigation is at the orders of the Supreme Court, and I'm sure you heard the opening of the show, there were various damaging observations for the DMK that were passed, the order that was passed by the Supreme Court of India. Then how is this entire action by the Enforcement Directorate part of any kind of political vendetta?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. The allegations date back to the year 2015. And why all of a sudden the Enforcement Directorate wakes up and says, okay, today is a good day. I'm going to arrest Mr. Senthil Balaji. If you're going to arrest someone, the law mandates that you'll have to follow certain procedures. Did the Enforcement Directorate follow those procedures? No. That is what we have said in the court. And the Election Enforcement Directorate has the audacity to step into the Secretariat. The crime dates back to 2015. And what does the minister who takes oath in 2021? He thinks any sane man or a man with little common sense think or believe that the minister will have the evidence pertaining to the crime in 2015, will have that in his office, which he assumed in 2021? So why did they go to the Secretariat? They think they can intimidate the opposition. The Prime Minister, Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah, they are scared. They are running scared of our leader, Mr. M.K.
Mr. Saravanan, you have all the right. You have all the right as the opposition party to make all these arguments. My question to you is something very different. The orders by the Supreme Court that were passed, they lay out certain details. In fact, forget the orders of the Supreme Court. You have Mr. Stalin, who is on record. This bite was tweeted out by BJP, pointing out how your own party has taken pot shots and raised questions about the integrity of this particular minister, sir.
Yes, Anusha, you're right. Yes, the Supreme Court has given certain observations. But the Supreme Court did not say, go arrest a man who has got a heart problem. If he has a heart problem, no problem. Don't worry. Go ask for custody, police custody. We will torture him. The Supreme Court did not say, violate his human rights. The Supreme Court did not say, don't follow the procedures. Go arrest him whenever you want to, whenever you feel like, because he belongs to the opposition party. The Supreme Court did not say, arrest all the opposition party MLAs, MPs, whoever is opposed to your toxic Hindutva. The Supreme Court did not give that carte blanche. But why the ED and the IT department are doing that? This is the question. Nobody can question legal actions. Let it come to its logical conclusion. We are questioning the perversity, the way they are persecuting. I will point one more thing. Mr. Senthil Balaji is a heart patient. He has got 3 blockages. 3 blockages, one around 90%. Any common man with little rudimentary knowledge of medicine will know he requires surgery immediately. What does the Enforcement Directorate say in the court? We want police custody.
No.
Are they joking?
No,
Just a moment, Anusha. Just a moment. Let me complete this. Are we from a democratic country? Or this is Hitler's Gestapo?
Well, sir, I think we are from a democratic country, and that is why judiciary has done the job as it should. I want to bring in BJP also into the discussion. Shehzad, the timing of this is being questioned. I think after the Supreme Court orders, it is abundantly clear that Enforcement Directorate had to take some kind of action. But that being said, the timing of the Enforcement Directorate and the manner in which he was arrested, that the DMK takes exception.
Before I come to that in just 20 seconds, Anusha, let me explain to the viewers what is going on. This is a pattern or a model which I call, and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose once said, "Tum mujhe khoon do, main tumhe azadi dunga." But you have a bunch of parties which say, "Tum mujhe bribe do, I will give you jobs in lieu of the bribes." This is that model in Partha in West Bengal, in Lalu Prasad Yadav, land do, job lo in Bihar, and now in Stalin's DMK, you have Mr. Senthil Balaji adopting the same method. And those 1,000-odd employees from Group C, Group D also had human rights when they were defrauded. This matter started, as rightly put by you, Anusha, from a criminal complaint filed by those who were affected. The Supreme Court by the way, said that the ED's duty is to go ahead and register a FIR and to take the necessary follow-up steps in that. The Supreme Court said that what was hammered out was not a compromise between individuals, but a compromise of fair play, conscience and justice. This is the Supreme Court on record. Now, Mr. Saravanan made a long, winding victimhood card. He did not explain how what is important in substance is that the fact that even the DMK raised this, and how today for the DMK, suddenly this has become about opposing Hindutva and he's being persecuted. So was Mr. Stalin at that point of time making all those statements because he was opposing Hindutva and Mr. Stalin was in favor of Hindutva? So that doesn't make any sense. But let's assume that the procedural issues raised by Saravanan. Saravanan is a lawyer of some repute. Mr. Saravanan, first of all, you should watch not just the 9 p.m. show of Zaka Jacob and Anusha Soni. You should watch the entire coverage of CNN News 18. You will come to know that the police custody was not demanded by the ED on record. This is fact number one. Fact number two, let's assume all the procedural issues you say is correct. So the arrest is illegal. If the arrest is illegal, why is the court granting judicial custody of 14 days? You made all these arguments in front of the honorable magistrate. And yet the magistrate has granted judicial custody for 14 days. ED did not seek police custody, judicial custody for 14 days. I am just happy with one discovery. ED should now be called MD. MD meaning the degree of medical doctorate. Because the moment ED starts acting on the basis of court, suddenly health problems start appearing from nowhere. So I think there is a good thing that ED is only discovering corruption problem. It is also discovering new health problems that are coming out. And by the way, sir, forget all of this.
So I'll come to
One second. DMK today is being called Dirty Money Kiska. You know why? Because you had a finance minister. What was his name? I think some Tyagarajan ji. Why did you kick him out from the finance ministry? Because his audio tape showed how the 2G, 3G of corruption is working, that your son and son-in-law have made more money than the previous generations have. So this is 3G corruption going on, sir, in your own government, and you have admitted it.
Mr. Saravanan, before you respond, there's one point that I want to raise. You know, you and the BJP can have political argument over this, but there were many people who came forward and said, look, we've given a bribe of 2 lakh rupees and we want jobs as conductors and bus drivers. These were ordinary citizens of this country, and I'm reading what transpired at the court, which is a part of the record. Balaji approached the Madras High Court to quash the FIR filed against him. He submitted that he had entered into a settlement with 13 aspirants who were arrayed as witnesses in the case and returned their money. Isn't this tacit or an open acceptance of what really happened, sir? Please go ahead, Mr. Saravanan.
Yes. See, first and foremost, let me put the record straight. Mr. Poonawalla was not in the court, but I was there in the court. ED filed an application for police custody. So please learn that fact, sir. Then make some sweeping arguments that ED did not do this. ED, there are no human beings. They don't have a heart. The man, this is the man who said he's suffering 90% critical stenosis. That is the diagnosis given by the panel of doctors. Is Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla saying, no, the doctors are all the crooks or the handymen of the DMK? You don't want to believe the doctors. This is what the Enforcement Directorate said in the court, that we don't want to believe the panel of doctors belonging to Oman Durar. Then we said, we will let them put this in an affidavit. We will file a perjury complaint. Immediately the ED went back, said, no, we don't want to pursue this. They want, that's what, they are not worried about the life and death. They are not worried about the critical situation of the minister. They are only worried about political persecution. Live or death, they are not bothered.
All right,
so let them, just a moment, let me
finish your argument, then I'll bring in BJP. Yes, please.
Yes. See, that apart, again, we are not here passing judgment on the innocence of guilt of Mr. Senthil Balaji that the courts will do. We are here saying how he is being persecuted, how he is being hounded.
Mr. Saravanan,
just a moment.
Let me say one thing. Then I'll bring in my other guests, Mr. Kumar Mangalan and Sovai Satyan. Yes, Shehzad, I'll come to you after this. We can have all the sympathy with any person who's suffering a health ailment right now, and I wish the minister a speedy recovery. That's not my point.
Wonderful.
My question to you, sir, was that why isn't the same kind of sympathy being shown for many other people who were duped by this person? Not allegedly. There's credible evidence on record, and that is why the Supreme Court stepped in. Why isn't the same kind of sympathy being meted out to those common citizens,
sir? If they are in the hospital bed, suffering from a serious ailment, which is preventing death or their livelihood, we will have that sympathy. We are
right.
asking.
Shehzad, a
this is
quick point for
peculiar
you.
situation.
Shehzad,
Why are
please.
you not? Why are you
May
not
I please
showing
now,
that
Mr.
sympathy? I am
Saravanan?
asking. Are the ED officials
Mr.
not human
Saravanan,
beings?
in
Mr.
court-
Saravanan,
That
Mr.
happens to
Saravanan,
their
Mr. One at a
family
time.
members?
Mr.
Will
Saravanan,
they have
Mr.
the same
Saravanan.
kind of response?
Mr.
Will they ask
Saravanan.
for a police
Mr.
Mr.
Saravanan, I
Saravanan,
am very
you
worried
made your
about
point.
your cardiac condition. Now, please let me have a say.
All
Stop
right.
it.
Thank you.
Stop it.
It's
Stop
not in the
your
interest of
fake
your
sympathy.
cardiac
We
condition
don't
All
that
right,
you
one
shout.
at a time. No personal comments, please.
No,
Shehzad,
I am
please go.
concerned about his cardiac condition.
Stop it.
We can just have a
Stop your
civil
fake
debate right
sympathy.
now.
We
Mr.
should have
Saravanan,
one.
Mr.
I don't
Saravanan.
want your fake sympathy.
No,
Stop
no,
it.
All right,
I have full
let's come
sympathy
back
with
to
you.
the debate.
Defending
Shehzad,
a corrupt,
Shehzad,
defending
argument
a
on the
corrupt
merits,
minister
please.
is not easy.
Shehzad, argument on the merits, please.
Cut
Mr.
the crap and
Saravanan,
get
Mr.
going.
Saravanan, 1 second. Shehzad, please go ahead, then I'll bring in other panelists.
You know, Anusha, I wish you would have invited a medical specialist, because somebody who's giving a bite during the raids suddenly in the night when he's arrested develops a serious cardiac condition. This has never happened, that the heart condition deteriorates so quickly without considering for the heart condition of those 1,000+ people of Group C and Group D. Don't speak in the middle, Saravanan, it's my turn. Group C and Group D people who are defrauded of their hard-earned, deserving jobs.
Anybody-
Point number one,
Mr. Saravanan, Mr. Saravanan, one at a time. No. Shehzad Poonawala right now. Shehzad
your
Poonawala.
interruptions
Shehzad
are
Poonawala.
only-
One at a time. One
Mr.
at a time.
Saravanan, your
One at a time,
interruptions-
please. One at a time, please.
Anybody can get
Mr.
it.
Saravanan, Mr. Saravanan, I'm requesting
This
you,
is
sir.
absolutely not
Mr.
correct.
Saravanan, I'm requesting you. Please allow the other
Why-
speaker.
why are you requesting
Please
it should be
allow,
put on-
Please
he should be
allow the other
allowed
speaker
to-
to make his point. Shehzad, please make your point. Shehzad, please make
In
your
the
point.
case of Partha Chatterjee also, suddenly Partha, after the mounds of cash were discovered a health problem. And therefore the High Court had to ask if the state-run hospital was giving a true certificate or not. And then they found that it was not. Then Satyendra Jain, another mastermind, was also discovering a new health ailment when he was in jail. LNJP gave a certificate, court said nothing doing, we are not going to believe it, we will have an independent audit of this. And therefore, Mr. Saravanan, you can show all of that. You should show me the
Amit Shah-
bite of Mr.
Amit
Mr.
Shah-
Stalin.
Amit Shah
Mr.
complained of
Stalin's
chest
bite
pain.
would be
Amit
important to
Shah
be shown
complained
here.
of chest
You know,
pain.
see, Mr. Saravanan, I can
Amit
interrupt
Shah
you and I can
complained of
interrupt you
chest
far
pain.
worse. Mr. Saravanan, I can interrupt you far worse with far more
Can we just have
ferocity
the
and
BJP
velocity.
right now? Shehzad,
Let
30
me just
seconds.
complete my point.
Then I'll go to other panelists, please. Just Shehzad
My
right
limited
now. Shehzad.
point is only this. The court has granted judicial custody. And secondly, I am asking Mr. Saravanan, is the stand taken by Stalin in 2015, 2016 valid today?
Right.
Does he feel that suddenly Mr. Senthil Balaji is being targeted for opposing so-called Hindutva?
Okay,
Is
okay.
that the reason?
I-
Or he has sympathy with those who have been defrauded
All right, Mr.
in this
Kovai
reverse
Satyan
Robin
and
Hood
Mr.
scam?
Mohan Kumar Mangalam have been very patiently waiting. I want them to come into the debate. Mr. Kovai Satyan, now point taking from you. Well, this is a leader who has a history of being in AIADMK, and the scam actually happened. The alleged scam actually happened when your government was in power. With the ED arresting this minister, the opposition parties are up in arms. They call it once again vendetta politics.
Let me put the records for the benefit of viewers. He was a minister in AIADMK where he indulged in corrupt practices. And that's why he is behind bars today. But having said that, it is our own leader, Edapadiyaru, who registered a case against him on these corrupt practices. We never try to safeguard this person, stating that he is immaculate and he is a Puritan. Like, what is the culture of DMK? And for the records, it is from ED, which had sent summons to Mr. Shanmugam, who is a PA of Mr. Senthil Balaji, and Ashok Kumar, brother of Senthil Balaji, multiple times, seeking explanation on the amount that is there in Senthil Balaji's account to a tune of 1.34 crores, and in his wife's account to a tune of 25.55 lakhs. They refused to receive the summon. Subsequent to which, the developments, what you have seen today. He is not somebody, he is not a saint. He has hopped from party to party to save his skin from corruption, and the last resort is DMK, because DMK is a party which is known to safeguard corrupt people and who take law into their own hands, and it is their culture. And today calling and playing a victim card, saying that why humanity is lost, he is suffering from heart ailment and heart disease, is nothing but playing the victim card under the guise of humanity. He is corrupt. And why let me finish 10 seconds. Why everybody, including the chief minister and till the ministers and MLA, are visiting Senthil Balaji is the corruption in his own ministry, excise, is running to thousands of crores, running illegal bars, thousands of bars. God knows where the procurements are happening. where the sales revenues are going. The kickbacks is surmounting to thousands of crores, and the beneficiaries of kickbacks are in every hierarchy of DMK. That includes the CM's family. That's why they are scared to death. If Senthil Balaji opens his mouth and confesses, DMK will be shown the door in Tamil Nadu.
Sir,
and
if
many
you-
more dates will roll out.
If you
That's
read,
why they are making a hue and cry on this issue.
If you read the High Court orders, if you go through the Supreme Court orders, roughly 90 page, not very long, you'd get to know that the state police has been accused of not doing its job. Yes, there was complaint that was filed by various individuals that came to the fore, and this was for criminal conspiracy, criminal intimidation, 406, 420, but at no point, sections of Prevention of Corruption Act were invoked. It was much later. It was much later. It was later at the instance of the High Court that these sections were invoked. And in fact, there are questions as to how come there was a settlement between the two parties. So yes, right from the very beginning, the manner in which the police authorities acted has been a point of question, sir.
He is a person who has got the audacity to call his own party men and thrash IT officials who had come for the raid. And if this person is let outside, he has got the audacity and he has got the bandwidth to tamper with the evidences, which is well known. And this is the same person who in Supreme Court said, yes, I received money, but I gave it back and we reached a compromise.
He did say
it is
that.
the same person when PC Act was
Mr. Saravanan, I'll come to you.
was included. He said, give me a copy, and he went to the High Court asking for a stay. He has used all the means and ways to stall this entire developments.
All right, Mr.
So
Mohan Kumar Mangalam. Mr. Mohan Kumar Mangalam, sir. The Congress party has taken a very clear position, and I'm not saying that in a democracy, executive cannot misuse the central agencies. They can. There could be certain instances where an elected government can be questioned by the opposition, by journalists, that are the authorities being misused, that part of democracy. But in this particular case, as I opened the show, I argued that this case started not at the instance of the political leaders or a particular government or a party. There were actual complainants. And in fact, in the Supreme Court, the minister in concern actually makes a tacit admission and said, I have returned the money. I believe that's an admission that you took the money in the first place. How can this be part of the vendetta politics, sir?
So I'm not here to play judge, jury, or executioner. The law will take its course. I am here, and please permit me a little leeway because I've patiently been listening to everybody.
Yes.
I'm here to make 4 main points. The first is about the Enforcement Directorate, and no less than the Supreme Court last month cautioned the Enforcement Directorate against creating an atmosphere of fear. There are about 50 excise officials in the state of Chhattisgarh who said that the Enforcement Directorate officials had mentally and physically tortured them. And it was the court themselves that warned the Enforcement Directorate against creating this environment of fear. If Mr. Senthil Balaji is a heart patient, then I think the Enforcement Directorate officials have been incredibly inhuman in the way that they have treated him. And if indeed he's going to go through a bypass surgery, it'll prove the point out and show Mr. Shahzad Poonawalla to be quite an insensitive human being. The second thing is, the Enforcement Directorate has most 95% of the cases the Enforcement Directorate has actually opened since 2014 have been, again, opposition party leaders. And it's very nice to say that, central government uses some of these investigative agencies against their opponents. But when it files cases against people who move to their party, it seems to forget about those cases. And a wonderful case in point here is Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, who, when Mr. Modi campaigned in Assam in 2014, said that he would bring all the perpetrators of corruption in Assam to book. And instead, what happened was the Louis Berger case, where the ED and the CBI opened FIRs in 2017, has not proceeded at any pace worth talking about in Assam. In fact, it have completely forgotten about the case. The now CM, Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, who's a key suspect in that case, has actually appointed one single officer to overlook a probe that's actually being conducted by the ED and CBI. At the same time, the same Louis Berger case in Goa has proceeded at lightning pace with charge sheets, with search and seizures, all of that. So you can see that the investigative agencies are only meant to harass the opposition. And as long as you join BJP, they will forget about you. In fact, I must ask Mr. Kovai Satyan this, because what Mr. Amit Shah said in 2016, when they asked him whether the probe would continue against Himanta Biswa Sarma, he said that, yes, the probe will continue in earnest. But at the same time, I maintain that if any corruption happens in a government, it is the head of that government that is responsible. So in this case, is it Mr. Edapadi Palaniswamy or is it the late Selvi Jayalalitha who is responsible for the corruption, alleged corruption that happened during Mr. Senthil Balaji's ministership?
All right.
Lastly, my last point you
Yes.
must listen to,
Yes.
because this is based on the ED saying that they found 1.34 crores in his bank account and 30 lakhs in his wife's bank account. This reminds me distinctly of the Mayawati case in 2004, when similar or much larger amounts were found with Mayawati, and ultimately the Supreme Court dismissed that case, saying that there wasn't enough justification to actually make a case of corruption, and that she received these monies in exchange of any quid pro quo.
All right,
So
before
I
the
would
before
not
the
be
BJP
surprised
and the
if this
DMK
case
makes their point,
goes down the same
Mr.
line.
One second, Mr. Kumar Mangla, there are these are pertinent points that you've made in the debate. But are you saying that because there was no action taken against Himanta Biswa Sarma, which I believe should have been, because if there was a case against him, the agency should have done their
let
job.
me answer that.
One second, Shahzad.
Let's not make
One
random
second.
claims,
My question to you, Mr. Kumar Manglam, is that just because action has not been taken into certain cases, does that give license to the opposition parties to say you have no right to take action in any case? Your case can be that the minister concerned is innocent. One second, sir. Your case can be, one second. Yeah, your argument can be that the minister is innocent. Your argument cannot be that just because somebody else is corrupt and they are not behind bars, I should also be let free. I don't believe that's a plausible argument, or is it?
No, so let me
Can I answer
respond to that.
One second. I'll come to all of them, Mr. Kumar Manglam right now. Yes.
Yes, let me respond to that. At no point can I, in good conscience, make the assertion that anyone is innocent, because neither am I an investigative agency and neither am I a jury or an executioner. So I will leave that to the law, those who uphold the law and those who implement the law, to actually come to that conclusion. All I'm saying is that this is the manner in which the Enforcement Directorate is being used. And our last 10 years, or last 8 years rather, is littered with examples of how the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI is used to blackmail political leaders,
All right.
is used to slow down probes on
A
leaders
quick
of
point,
the
a quick
ruling
point
party.
from the DMK,
But go
Shahzad,
and
then you
do
can
it
respond to
like
both the
people
points
do.
together.
Let me address this, because a lot of stuff has been said about the ED and about Himanta Biswa
You'll
Sarma.
be
I have a
given
right
all
to
the
know.
time to respond.
But I
Yes,
know they
Mr.
will
Saravanan.
interrupt, all of them
No,
will
nobody
interrupt.
will be allowed to. Mr. Saravanan, quick point, 30 seconds, sir. 30 seconds, sir.
Yes, 20 seconds. See, the
Yes.
thing is this. The money was not received by Mr. Senthil Balaji. It was not repaid by Mr. Senthil Balaji. He merely stated X received the money, X paid it back. So let us not say that it is Mr. Senthil Balaji who received the money. So let us put
Then
this.
why was Mr. Stalin
That's
attacking
straight.
him? Then Mr. Stalin
Yeah.
is obviously extremely
What were you doing
uncharitable
when Hemant Biswa
and
was attacked?
unheartedly
What
that
were
he
you
was
doing?
attacking such an
This-
innocent
This
angel.
can't be a shouting match.
Now
This
let
can't be
me
a
come
shouting
in.
match.
Now
One
let me
second.
come in.
No. One second. Mr. Saravanan. Mr. Saravanan, you have made your point. Mr.
Let me
Saravanan, you've
address the
made your
larger
point.
issues
One
which
second.
have been raised by
Mr.
the
Saravanan, you've
Congress.
made your point. BJP, and then I'll go to AIADMK as well. BJP,
You know,
Mr. Shahzad Punawala,
the
please.
Congress should stop spreading canards against the investigating agencies, especially when they can't get their way through to the Supreme Court. The same Supreme Court thrashed your petition filed by 14 parties alleging vendetta and malicious persecution and prosecution. Point number one. Point number two. Please tell me with hand on your heart, since you said that the ED is being used to harass people, the investigation on Manish Sisodia, harassment or fair play? And thirdly, since you raised Himanta Biswa Sarma, let's assume for a moment you're right on that. You're telling me that a party which had till now Kapil Sibbal has Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Mr. Chidambaram in its legal field could not take with so much evidence in the Louis Berger case to the court and say that Himanta Biswa Sarma is corrupt. But let me give you another example. Mukul Roy had joined the BJP. The investigations continued against him. And the moment he went to TMC, today the TMC has adopted him with open arms. And when he was with the BJP, you were crying each day that he's the most corrupt man. So if he was so corrupt, why did your new friend TMC take him? I am coming to the point again. Is Manish Sisodia corrupt or a victim of vendetta politics?
All right.
Mr. Mangalam, your smile is only...
All right, no.
Your smile is only hiding.
Mr. Kumar Manglam, one second.
Your
Mr. Kumar
non-response
Manglam,
to
one
the
second.
answer.
Shahzad, you've
That
made your
once
point.
the CBI and
Mr.
ED
Kumar Manglam, one
investigation was going on, I am supposed to go to court.
Specific answer to
CBI and
Manish
ED are
Sisodia.
useless.
One
Can I
second.
answer
One
that?
second. No. One second. Mr. Kumar Manglam. Mr. Kovai Satyan, you have a point to make. I'll take the point first from you,
Yes.
then I'll go to the Congress party. Yes, Mr. Kovai Satyan.
Yeah. To my friend Kumar Mangalam, it is our leader Edappadiar who was heading the cabinet ordered an FIR to be registered against Senthil Balaji, who was that AIDMK person. So ownership has to be according to the books of law. Unlike DMK, where you safeguard the people who take law into their own hands. So your quote of Hemant Biswa Sharma, does it hold good for Senthil Balaji? Has it become a Puritan? Has it become immaculate? I have been joining DMK. The whole question is, our leader filed an FIR against Senthil Balaji. Did Stalin still took a step of ordering a commission or for all the misdeeds happening in the excise department, running illegal bars across Tamil Nadu and swindling crores of money? Why, as an ally, you are not questioning that, Mr.
All right,
Kumar Mangalam?
Mr. Kumar Mangalam, a quick
Why you are
question.
selecting
No. Mr. Kumar Mangalam, no. Mr. Kumar Mangalam, please. Mr. Saravanan, I'll come to you. I have to let all the speakers make their point. Mr. Kumar Mangalam, Mr. Mohan Kumar Mangalam right now. Mr. Mohan Kumar Mangalam right now. Mr. Mohan Kumar Mangalam, can I just have the Congress, please? Can I just have the Congress, please? Mohan Kumar Mangalam, yes.
Yes, I asked my friend Mr. Kovai Satyan a very simple question, which he didn't respond to, which is that Amit Shah made the assertion that it is the head of government who is responsible for corruption in that particular government. Doesn't that then apply to him? Because they're alliance partners. And what does he feel about the Tamil Nadu BJP president, Mr. Annamalai, openly criticizing Jayalalitha's government for corruption?
I answered you, Kumar Mangalam. It has to be according to the books of law, and our leader did the same.
Mr. Kumar Mangalam.
There were no disparities just because he was an
Mr. Kumar Mangalam. Mr. Kumar Mangalam.
He was not safeguarded, he was not shielded.
Mr. Kumar Mangalam, if you accuse the BJP of being some kind of a washing machine, that Hemant Biswa Sharma can go to it and then, no action will be taken against them, does it mean that somebody like Mr. Balaji can cross over to the opposition side, and each time there is an action on a corrupt leader who is in the opposition camp right now, there will be allegations of political vendetta? I think this kind of labeling works both the sides. And if the BJP is guilty of something, so are you, aren't you?
I'm not sure how I'm guilty or we are guilty of anything. We don't control the investigative agencies here.
Mr. Saravanan and Shehzad, I'll come back to you.
I'm talking about from DMK as well. I'm not sure I understand your question because the investigative agencies...
your lack of comprehension of anything that is making sense is visible because you are from Rahul Gandhi's party after all. But having said that, let me re-articulate something very quickly. Anusha, let me re-articulate the question I posed very quickly. Mr. Mangalam, you can't have... Mr. Kumar Mangalam, this is not a Congress party forum, you have to have a dialogue.
All right.
Let's have a dialogue. Let me pose my question very quickly.
30 seconds, make your point. 30 seconds, make your point, then Shehzad comes in. Mr. Kumar Mangalam, make your point, finish your point.
I think
finish your point.
Let me make my point, he can address it.
Shehzad, please go ahead. Shehzad, please go ahead.
My point is to Kumar Mangalam, so he can address it comprehensively. Let me just make my point. Let me not raise my voice. I am asking Mr. Kumar Mangalam very a simple question. You said that the agencies act out of vendetta. Is the action on Manish Sisodia vengeful? And secondly, today the Kerala Crime Branch has filed a case and summoned your Kerala state president. You screamed vendetta there also. So are you saying that the left parties are also being vindictive when they take action on the fake antique case against your leader? Specific, please.
I am not aware of the Kerala Crime Branch
case. Of course you're not aware.
Filed today.
Of course you're not aware.
If I were aware, I will say that we will submit to whatever the law is and the law will take its course.
And what about Manish Sisodia?
What I'm pointing out to it, I'm not the spokesperson for Aam Aadmi Party, so you need to direct your question.
Are you aware of what your party has said on Manish Sisodia?
Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson. Let me get
your party has said
now.
the action is in the domain of law. It's not vindictive.
Let's not digress from the issue. Can I bring in the DMK into the discussion back? Mr. Saravanan, you had a point to make. Please go ahead.
See, the question here is this. Nobody is giving a clean sheet like the BJP. The BJP is giving clean sheets because it has got every institution under its thumb. The ED and the CBI is dancing to the tunes of the BJP. They don't have one, they were not able to. Their incompetence is writ large. They're not able to find one director from the whole lot of officers across the country. They want to give that to the same person and again. Why? Because that is the man who will listen to the diktats of the BJP and the RSS.
No,
and
Mr. Saravanan.
we are saying, no, let me finish this.
Yeah.
We are not saying, please don't take any action just because he has joined DMK. Let your actions be guided by humanitarian considerations and legal considerations.
One line.
We have pointed out how it is illegal. The thing is this, the ED, do they have any humanity left in them, those officers?
Humanitarian grounds.
Just
Humanitarian
just
grounds.
one line.
Shehzad, go ahead,
Since
please.
Saravanan has brought out humanitarian so many times and he has such a great heart condition, why don't you remove him as a minister? How can he continue as a minister with such a serious condition?
Pointed question.
And sir, since you have not given him a clean sheet, how come he continues as a minister despite the Supreme Court saying that he is deserving of an investigation?
Mr. Saravanan,
Yes,
make
I
a straight
want
answer.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. This is coming from the party, BJP, which is given a red carpet welcome to Brij Bhushan Singh. Who is he? What has he committed? A heinous crime against the restless, the golden women of our country.
चिन्मय श्रीपदा पे कितना FIR किया अभी तक? How many FIRs on Veramuthu? How many FIRs on Veramuthu? Chinmay Shripada, Bhuvana, all of them have made allegations. 17 women have complained against this minister.
I have to, Mr. Saravanan,
Not a single FIR on Veramuthu.
One second. This political whataboutery has no end. Mr. Saravanan, I ask you a very pointed question, sir, and I ask this to you as a journalist, as a citizen of this country, thinking about those hundreds of people who had to pay petty bribes to get a job, which they should have got on merit. These were government jobs for which people work very hard in this country, and 2 or 2.5 lakh rupees for somebody who wants job as a bus conductor, I believe is a humanitarian ground for any party, including your party, to look at.
Yes,
That's
Anusha.
the sensitivity. Sir, my question to you is there political accountability in this country? If the BJP doesn't have political accountability, according to you, isn't the Dravidian model very different from what the BJP professes? Isn't that your politics? So keeping a minister despite such serious charges, is that your brand of politics, sir?
And serious.
No, it's not about serious charges. Let them be proved inside the court. Then we will take action. This is not the standard followed across the country. Is BJP following the same standard? If some accusation is made, they throw away the
Mr.
minister.
Saravanan.
Why did they throw away Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad and so many other ministers, top ministers? Why did they throw them out? Were they incompetent? Or there were many allegations against them?
Shehzad, I believe there's a point that the DMK makes here, that there have been various accusations that have been made against BJP leaders and ministers. And unfortunately in this country, there are no resignations which are seen at the mere accusations.
Right.
Process becomes the punishment under Indian judiciary,
Anusha.
and that's what is the case perhaps.
Anusha, I never go by accusations hurled in the political hurly-burly. I go by what the court of law ordains against a person in an ongoing case. Here there is a court of law ordained against Mr. Senthil Balaji. The court of law had ordained against Sonia Gandhi, against Manish Sisodia. That's when we demanded political accountability. Now I'm saying that Mr. Saravanan, forget the political accountability. You're too up for that. You did not even take action on those who are corrupt as per your own ex-finance minister. I am asking you, you have claimed that he has a very serious health condition. Correct? Your words, not mine. If he is such a serious condition that he can't face a probe, why is he continuing as a minister? And that too, electricity minister who can't keep the electricity in place when the home minister of the country comes. So by your standard on humanitarian grounds, why make him work so much? Please tell him to rest.
Yes.
Mr. Saravanan, why don't you tell him to rest?
All right, Mr. Saravanan,
That's a good
please.
question. I'll answer that. Answer that because his health condition was found out. It came out only yesterday, not before that. That is why I'm saying, is the ED,
You are saying this with a straight face.
listening?
No, you're saying this with a straight face.
I'm not getting you.
I am saying that you are saying that his health condition developed only yesterday after the ED started interrogating him. Till then he was fit and fine.
If you are not a doctor, please listen to some of the doctors about how heart attacks, blocks are discovered.
I
Then
lost
come
my
and give
father
your
at the age of 6 to a heart attack. So I know a little bit about it.
That's what,
But having
that's what
said
I'm
that,
saying.
Mr.
Go for it,
Saravanan,
go for
yours
a
is a
doctor.
case of
Go
political
get
corruption
jam from
blockage.
doctor.
It's not about
Then
arteries
come and
getting
laugh
blocked.
here.
It's about the
Doctor,
corruption blockage that needs to be
All
removed.
right, we have last 1 minute on the show. Closing comments from you, Mr. Saravanan. Closing comments from you.
See, this is political vendetta, pure and simple. The BJP thinks that Mr. M.K. Stalin, our leader, is trying to bring a grand alliance of all the other regional parties. So the BJP and the RSS cabal is totally afraid of this. That is why they are targeting Mr. Senthil Balaji. They think they can put a full
Mr.
stop.
Kumar Mangalam, if there are orders from the Supreme Court which prima facie have some very damaging observations to make against the minister in question, then how is this vendetta politics? I reiterate that question.
The law will take its course. I'm going to say again that the Enforcement Directorate, 95% of the cases they filed are against the opposition parties with less than a 1% conviction rate. They are merely there to enforce the will of the BJP and nothing more.
All right, Shehzad, the final comment from you.
The ED has a 96% conviction rate when it comes to PMLA cases
Shehzad, that's
that have
not
gone
correct.
to trial.
Shehzad, that's not correct.
No,
That's
one
not
second, let me-
correct. That's not correct. Shehzad, that's not correct.
cases that have gone to trial.
I have read that. I have read that. No. One second.
Anyways, Anusha.
One second. That's
Typical.
not
One
correct.
of
That's not
those
correct.
cases from a BJP
It's on the ED
spokesperson.
website.
Not
It's
allowed
on
to
the
put
newspaper.
that.
Guys, 1 second. Mr. Sarvan and Mr. Kumaraswamy, 1 second.
20 seconds.
1 second. About 4,500 cases that were registered by the Enforcement Directorate. In fact, about 5,900 in which...
Did you hear what I said,
Yes,
Anusha?
yes. You said conviction rate is about 95%.
In cases which have gone for trial.
In
Please
cases,
let me complete.
No,
anyways.
but the numbers. Only 25 cases have gone for trial.
Is that
out
my
of-
fault or the
no,
court's fault?
It is
That's
the
right.
ED's
So
fault.
anyways,
Yes, it's not 96.
It's not the ED's fault.
It's
ED
not
filed the
96.
charge sheet. The court has to take them for
Closing
that.
comments
Anyways,
from
no,
Shehzad.
Anusha,
Let him make his
closing
point.
comments.
Yes.
I am saying that if this is an act of vendetta, Thiru Stalin led the vendetta charge way back in 2016. So, Mr. Sarvanan, you must tonight go to Mr. Stalin and ask him why he was driving this agenda of vendetta on a person who developed a heart condition just 1 day ago.
All right.
Don't mock.
All right, that's
no,
all.
don't
That's
mock
all the time.
conditions.
That's all the
No,
time I
you
have.
should then remove him
That's
for
all the
health
time I
condition.
have. That's all the time I
It can
have.
happen to anybody.
Mr.
Don't forget
Shehzad
that.
Poonawalla, Mr. Sarvanan, Kovai Satyan, Mr. Mohan Kumar Mangalam, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast. Indeed, the rule of law will take its course, and we have to wait and watch what the court decides in the days to come. For now, the minister concerned has been sent to 14 days of judicial custody. He's receiving the medical care and attention right now at a government facility. Now, shifting our focus to the second debate and the second big story of the day. A major controversy has erupted in the hill state of Himachal Pradesh over the delay in salaries of about 15,000 government employees. The BJP has slammed the Sukhu-led Congress government, accusing it of spreading financial turmoil by failing to balance the books between the promises and the delivery. The state, which is primarily dependent on tourism and agriculture as its key source of income, has a widening fiscal deficit and an increased burden of about 800 to 900 crore rupees as the old pension scheme made its return. The state has also accumulated a whopping debt of about 75,000 crore rupees in 2022-23, which is likely to rise to about 83,000 crore rupees if you look at the government numbers, and these are government statistics. Out of this, the total debt, about 11,000 crore rupees, is the arrears of salaries, dearness allowance, pensions that need to be paid. Welfare state is indeed the promise of Indian democracy, but where does one draw the line between the so-called freebies versus the welfare measures? Are political parties making such promises at the cost of fiscal prudence? That's the key question we ask. And let me also take this question to our guests who are with us on the broadcast tonight. But through the day, we had political statements coming in on this. First, the story so far.
पेंशन और सैलरी की राह में आज 14 तारीख हो गई है और पेंशन और सैलरी का कोई अता पता नहीं है। बड़े दुख की बात है।
वर्तमान जो फाइनेंशियल जो स्थिति है, जो क्राइसिस आया है, उसके लिए कांग्रेस पार्टी के साथ साथ में कांग्रेस सरकार वो जिम्मेवार है।
शायद उनकी गारंटी में पेंशनर्स को पेंशन देना और सरकारी कर्मचारियों को उनका वेज देना, अब ये कहेंगे हमारी गारंटी में नहीं।
HRTC की व्यवस्था आपको मालूम है कि 144 करोड़ रुपए का खर्चा है पर मंथ और इनकम 65 करोड़ है।
फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन है जो पिछली सरकार से एक बहुत बड़ा कर्जा 75,000 करोड़ का या 11,000 करोड़ रुपए की जो लाइबिलिटीज मिली है, उसके बावजूद ये सारी चीज़ें एक चैलेंज तो प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट के सामने है।
All right, let's take this debate to our guests who are with us on the broadcast. Good politics but bad economics for the state. Shehzad Poonawalla, the national spokesperson of the BJP. Sujata Paul, who is the spokesperson of the Indian National Congress. Thank you both for joining us on the broadcast. Sujata ji, first to you. The state of Himachal Pradesh right now is facing an economic situation, a crunch of sorts. And if you look, the total liabilities, debt versus the GSDP, the state is not faring very well. About 800 to 900 crore rupees of additional burden because of the old pension scheme. Did the Congress party really think of where will it really get all the means if you wanted to give a benefit of this nature, ma'am?
First of all, whenever there is something which is socially desirable, it should always overtake what is financially viable, because resources need to be found, because people are paying taxes, period. This is a welfare state. The old pension scheme is obviously going to be on target, but let me also tell you that you did not put out the tweet of Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, which he has put out at 9:23 p.m. today. And I quote him from that tweet where he says, and I quote, "All government employees of Himachal Pradesh are getting paid on time as per the schedule. A manipulated campaign is being run from Delhi to malign the image of Himachal Pradesh. No media, news channel in Himachal is aware of any such developments. Wonder who's spreading these rumors in Delhi," unquote. And I do understand who is spreading these rumors, because when it comes to the government of India, they'll talk about giving free rations and the country being a welfare state. But when the country has a federal structure and the states come up with their own schemes, this government will definitely have a problem, because Jairam Thakur has been a failure. He is the one who has brought so much of debt to Himachal Pradesh. So let's be very clear about it, that it is about a vision that that INC has for the country. And that is that if people are paying taxes, we have to provide for them, whether it is infrastructure, opportunities in terms of jobs, development, in such a manner that they become self-reliant. How do we do that? This is the way to do it. And we gradually brought people, 27 crore people, out of the poverty line during the UPA rule. This government,
sticking to the state of Himachal Pradesh. Sticking to the state of Himachal Pradesh, Shehzad, there are similar welfare schemes that various BJP ruled states and the BJP government, the Modi government at the center, has also announced. And that's not freebie, that's welfare politics.
Let me start by placing a few facts, and just like I heard the other speaker patiently, I hope I won't be interrupted. I am certainly sharing the view that the move to bring in OPS is absurd and recipe for financial bankruptcy. Spoken by Montek Singh Ahluwalia. When Himachal Pradesh government left, in Congress party government left in 2017, growth of loans 67%. When Jairam Thakurji left, it was growth of loans 30%. GSDP during Congress party in 2017, 1.3 lakh crore. We left the GSDP at 1.9 lakh crore. The debt of Himachal Pradesh when they left it, 50,000 crores plus. When we left it, it increased by about 13 to 14,000 crores. So therefore the question is, who's driving Himachal to bankruptcy? Just like a government in Sri Lanka drove Sri Lanka to bankruptcy, the party that believes in freebie first, family first and corruption first is making Sri Lanka out of every state that they capture. Listen what they've done. In Karnataka, they've made promises which will cost the taxpayer 62,000 crores per year, and therefore they can't fulfill it. So what do? Instead of giving free electricity, they increase the prices of electricity by 2.89 for Bescom and 70 paise across the board. In Himachal too, they promised 300 units free. How many units free were given to any household? No, they increased it by 22 paise. By the way, how many women got 1,500 rupees that they were going to be given? None. Therefore, this OPS scheme is driving every state to bankruptcy. Let me tell you what the RBI has said. The RBI has said that Rajasthan, Bihar, Kerala, Punjab and West Bengal are the most stressed states. Their debt to GDP ratio, by the way, exceeds 35%. Punjab is going to go to 45%, which also could not pay its salaries. And by the way, let me show you another statement. I started off by Mr. Montek Ahluwalia. Here is Mr. Chidambaram. Chidambaram ji says, and this was at your previous channel, Anusha, P. Chidambaram says, Modi government did a fantastic job in maintaining fiscal deficit. You know why? Because when they left it, it was 4.8, 5.9, 4.9, and we brought it down to 4.5, 4.1, 3.9, 3.5. This is, and then even during the pandemic, we held it, and now it is at an acceptable rate, which the RBI said. This is the difference. The Congress will drive the state to bankruptcy. We increase the GDP. Therefore, the GDP of the country has gone from $2 trillion to $3.75 trillion. It's gone from 11th position to 5th position.
Sujata-ji,
the per capita income of the people of this country has doubled. Sujata-ji, you do not have that track record.
While I'm not saying that going back to the old pension scheme is quote-unquote some kind of a freebie, it might be a well-intended welfare measure that the Congress party wanted to take. But when any responsible political party makes a poll promise, there are numbers, finances, sources of revenue that need to be worked out. A well-developing state like Karnataka may still be able to bear the burden with a double-digit growth in a sector like a services sector. But a state like Himachal Pradesh is dependent on very traditional sources, horticulture, agriculture, tourism. From where will it get the extra money? About 800 to 900 crore rupees.
You know, I'm really amused by this analysis of yours, because the neighboring state of Uttarakhand, from where I come, is seeing a rise in their debt, and it is the BJP government which has been there for such a long time now. And how is it running? How are they coming up with their freebies? Well, they are giving no governance, no jobs, no nothing. And like I said initially only, numbers is something that if you analyze by, the numbers of the BJP economic advisors, you'll find that one person will say that the country is going to grow at a rate of 11%, another will say 7%, someone will say 6%. So let's not shoot off numbers, because people understand jobs, people understand help that comes to them, because they are paying taxes, and they are paying taxes all through the day, whether they buy a soap, whether they are filing their returns. And when they are doing that, it is the responsibility of the government. And let me give you one example. As far as the UPA government is concerned, Manrega, which the Prime Minister obviously made fun of, but they did accept the fact that during Corona, it really helped them. So it is for us to find the resources. We will do that. And that is the promise that we made to the people and the country. When one last point, when the country got freedom, at that time, there was not even a needle which was being manufactured here. What happened? We made so much that today the Prime Minister buys 8,500 crore worth of 2 airplanes. He goes by, makes a magnificent home. During Corona,
I think the most potent point, the most potent point that you made
on Karnataka,
the most potent point that you made was on the hill state of Uttarakhand, and you're right in pointing out that the hill state of Uttarakhand, because of various factors including COVID, has not done very well on various economic metrics. Shehzad, the hill state of Uttarakhand has given similar kind of benefits.
You know, Anusha, anybody who has done even 11th standard in economics would tell you that debt by itself doesn't make sense. You have to compare debt with the ratio of the GDP. Right? So debt to GDP is what you calculate. And therefore, if you see on that matrix, the BJP governments across the board double the GSDP of the state or the country. And this is a performance that they do. Yes, the debt will also increase, but you don't see it in absolute figures. And let me give you another example. I did not know Mr. Chidambaram had joined the BJP. He himself is praising the BJP for fiscal management. But having said that, let's come to unemployment, because that's the point. One second, ma'am, I did not interrupt you. Anusha, I heard her out. I heard her out patiently. Anusha, this is absolutely uncalled for. Uncalled for. Absolutely uncalled for. I will raise my voice. This is not acceptable.
You don't have to. Make your point. Yes.
Let's go to unemployment. The CMI figures that they quote, I don't like CMI, but because they quote it randomly. The unemployment rate of Gujarat, 1.5%. Uttar Pradesh, 3%. Uttarakhand, less than 3%. Assam, less than 4%. And let's take the states of Congress. Rajasthan, over 20%. Bihar, over 10%. No, this is the fact. Let's one second on unemployment. Firstly, on unemployment.
Can I just have Shehzad right now? I have last 30 seconds on the show. I've taken closing comments from you, Sujata ji. Shehzad, 30 seconds.
Now I challenge, because by the way, Rahul Gandhi said rear view mein gaadi nahi chalani chahiye. But she went back right up to Nehru. Tell me 1 year of the Congress party where the GDP...
That's all the time. That's all the time. That's all the time that I have. And as I said at the opening of the debate, indeed, there is a promise of welfare state in Indian democracy, but fiscal prudence should not be completely overlooked by the parties. Let's see how the hill state of Himachal Pradesh manages this crisis. And it seems like that the Chief Minister says that there's some work done to that end. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Brass Tacks. Thank you so much for watching.
2015. For that, Mr. Senthil Balaji will be having the evidence in the Secretariat, the office which he assumed in 2021. What joke is the ED officers trying to play? So they are deliberately trying to provoke. They think that they can bring a bad name to the DMK government. But it is the BJP which is losing out. The entire opposition in our country is united. They've condemned yesterday's search. And then a person, you imagine 17 hours, he's being held captive, and he is not allowed to any of his normal functions. You don't allow him to sleep, and suddenly, middle of the night at 3 o'clock, you are arresting him. 3 o'clock.
All right.
Without any this thing, they are arresting. What kind of investigating agency they are?
All right. Mr. Saravanan, please stay with us. We also have BJP's Narayanan Tirupati joining us. Sir, a very good morning to you. So we have DMK's A. Saravanan with us, who claims that this arrest of Senthil Balaji is illegal, and in fact he has also claimed that this is a vendetta against DMK by the centre. Your reaction on this?
No law prevents the law enforcing agencies to arrest anyone at the 3 o'clock in the morning. First of all, Mr. Saravanan is also an advocate by profession. I think he knows that. Number two, what is he accused of? He has been accused of cheating common men, assuring them of jobs in his ministry when he was a minister in transport ministry. He was the minister. And this accusation was very clearly exposed by Mr. Stalin, the then opposition leader and the present chief minister. They have even met the governor and accused Mr. Senthil Balaji of doing huge corruptions when he was in so many ministries. It was not the BJP who had accused. It is the DMK which has accused the same Senthil Balaji and given him the ministry. Mr. Saravanan is asking whether he can hide documents pertaining to 2011-15. Why not? Why can't he hide? He can do that. The law enforcing agency has got each and every right to interrogate, and it is the duty and the responsibility of a minister to cooperate with the law enforcing agency. The chief minister is to be highly condemned for not ordering Senthil Balaji's dismissal. He should have asked Mr. Senthil Balaji to cooperate with the Enforcement Directorate. That's it.
All right, Mr. Tirupati, please stay with us. Mr. Saravanan, how would you like to respond to Mr. Tirupati?
See, that's what authority, what moral authority does any of these BJP leaders or spokespersons have to comment upon anybody else? What have they done with Mr. Brij Bhushan Singh? He is accused of sexually assaulting. What a heinous crime. And what was he doing? He was given a red carpet welcome in the parliament. And these people come here and preach about probity in public life. What a joke, what a pathetic joke is this. The question is, there are guidelines for arrest. You cannot arrest anybody in the midnight. Let him go educated about the Supreme Court judgments, which speak about when an arrest is required or when an arrest is not required. He is not Mehul Choksi or Nirav Modi to fly away after looting the country's money worth 5,000 crores. The BJP remained a mute spectator. They were all, close allies of whom? Does the BJP have any answer for that? So let the BJP not preach. They are the most corrupt party India had ever seen. They are the corrupt party giving asylum to everybody, rapists and all other people.
All right. Mr. Tirupati, your response on...
I can understand. Yeah, I can understand the tension and emotion of, Mr. Saravanan, because Senthil Balaji is a milking cow for the DMK government now, though he was seen as a very big scamster and a very big corrupt person when they were in opposition. Now, it is very clear. It is very clear. It is very clear.
Why are you supporting him?
It is very clear.
Are you ashamed or not?
Have some decency.
When this investigation is at the orders of the Supreme Court, and I'm sure you heard the opening of the show, there were various damaging observations for the DMK that were passed, the order that was passed by the Supreme Court of India, then how is this entire action by the Enforcement Directorate part of any kind of political vendetta?